you create a community that is telling everybody about you, staying for the whole life, and know that you are taking care of them with the best possible ability you have and your team has, and your team's on fire for that. You take care of the people and you don't have to worry about anything else.
All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jacobowitz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatric, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go. All right, y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Family Practice Podcast. You're going to get double the awesomeness today. You're going to get double the insights, double the value, double the experience, double everything, because we've got Dr. Rudy and Ashley Bersani on this one. And it's actually probably more than double, because as is most relationships here, whether both are kick-ass family chiropractors married together like this, I feel like a distinct 1 + 1 = 11 advantage. The fact that they opened up this practice, Living Water Chiropractic, down in Texas, baby, and they have been killing it, doing incredible things from the very beginning, because they are incredible humans. They have thrived, but not without hard times. They have absolutely succeeded, but not without some real struggle within their team and the way we build teams in our family practice model, PX model, that we're going to talk about on here all the time, is our teams, our associates, our CAs, they're family to us. Our patients, we treat them like family. We take care of them like family. We pour into them, right? And so when stuff happens to them, stuff happens to us. And so the quick little update, the mini State of the Union I have for you on this one is, I want you to know that when you really, truly are in a practice model you love, and you're serving patients that you truly absolutely have a passion, really, I call it obsession and purpose to serve, and they bring you so much joy. So today, Dr. Rudy, Dr. Ashley Bersani, owners of Living Water Chiropractic in, I asked them this, but I never remember, Boerne. It's Boerne, Texas. So it's a badass town in Texas, and they're building a big, huge new clinic to keep growing into as they take over that slice of Texas. Dr. Rudy is originally from Buffalo, New York. Go Bills. He wakes up every single day, pours his coffee, and slams himself through a folding table. All right. If you get that, then you know the NFL, where he spent most of his younger years and eventually made his way down to the great state of Texas. He attended the University of Texas at Dallas before moving on to Parker and meeting Dr. Ashley there. So they have tons of extensive pediatric training through PX and our CERT program and other things out there. And he has a true passion for serving others and spreading that love and positivity. And boy, does he do it. He's even a mentor to so many in his community, not just through chiropractic, but I know he serves. And then Dr. Ashley is from Corpus Christi, Texas, grew up and first started going to the chiropractor there. She saw chiropractic. She's always been a kick-ass, just active, strong, competitive sports boss lady. And chiropractic really restored her body and her nervous system. So from Baylor to Parker to get her chiropractic degree, tons of additional training through PX and that as well. And really what was so exciting during this journey at Parker and chiropractic school, where her and Rudy obviously would meet and get together and bring their lives together and their future practice together. But there was this spark, and she tells the story and they tell the story, and it's so cool how they find out during school, which is a great time to find this out because many of us don't, that chiropractic is so much more than getting out of pain and performing better in sports. So really, it's nervous system focused chiropractic has allowed to keep her fibromyalgia, ADHD, and those sort of challenges at bay. She is absolutely thriving. She lives it. She has a massive heart for service. She wants to give everybody, and does deliver on this, the greatest experience ever. From clinical to, you should see their team, you should see their culture. We talk a ton about that. They love to travel. They live such a great life because all PX family practices are thriving and killing, and we love to get after it, but we never sacrifice health, fitness, family time, travel, and life experiences as well. And these two are living it. You're going to love it. Lean in, listen, and please share this one like crazy. Dr. Rudy, Dr. Ashley Bersani, here we go. All right, chiropractors, this is an exciting launch of our brand new podcast. And I'm just going to say it. I'm sure, so we're just rolling. We're going to record here with Dr. Ashley and Rudy Bersani here. But what I want to do, you guys happen to be in town for Team and Leadership for your third time, which we're going to talk about. We'll get to that, why that's such a big move for you. We do not even yet have this podcast officially named. And I love this because interviewing you two for it, almost before it even comes to life, is absolutely perfect, because when we think of PX from its formation and bringing this mission and vision to life, like when we run quote unquote Google in our brains and our hearts, what does PX stand for? Who is the perfect representation? It's you two nut jobs. All right. It's you two with your skinny legs and everything. All right. So we're going to, on this podcast, we're going to be relatable. We're going to be inspirational, but we're going to be very practical, strategic. We're going to get tactical, and we're going to go through with you guys the stages of growth and development. Very pediatric, focus there, right? So no chart to follow. But what I want to do is start off with you guys. There's other podcasts where we would say, oh, tell me your chiropractic story, and we could go back to Buffalo, jumping on tables and slamming down chicken wings. But what I want to do is go ahead and get us into our chiropractic journey. And I want to go back to chiropractic school. And the question I first have is, what was your spark? That moment that you knew, I will find my certainty, my path, my future purpose there. Whereabouts, actually we'll go ladies first. Whereabouts in school, what club, what person, what scenario was that spark, that catalyst?
Yeah, I mean, mine was more of like a slow burn, because I mean, and Rudy can relate to this. I mean, both of us were athletes all growing up. That was the version of chiropractic I knew, and I thought it was cool, and I was going to be on the sideline, and that was going to be the life. And then, but I also had my health fell apart in high school, and I was diagnosed fibromyalgia. I was on ADHD meds, like all these different things that then subsequently, like in the middle of chiropractic school, in the middle of the hardest trials, like, oh, I feel better. And and these meds are insane. And Rudy didn't like me on the meds either. So, And then I was like, oh my gosh, they're giving these to kids. And so that. You
were on medications when you met? And when you started chiropractic?
I know, and he still liked me. And it's saying a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that was like the biggest catalyst for us that really flipped the switch of like, oh no, there's a whole other world of chiropractic that we've never even known about. And, you're getting adjusted all the time, subpar adjustments, but adjustments all the time, and actually.
Well, so if it was a slow burn of, we'll say, interpretation that your transformation of your health was happening, it probably, what that would expose, which is what we're going to teach again and again on this podcast, and it's like so core to PX, is not just deliver the adjustment with excellence, deliver the explanation, the communication. Sounds like you were getting super subpar explanation of what chiropractic could even do for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And that's part of transformation. People have to know that they're transforming. They have to believe and invest in it mentally and emotionally at that same time to really get the fullest expression of it. BJ said, give them the adjustment for free and charge them for the education. So, or, there's value to both, right? So charge a premium for both and earn that value too. Okay. Amazing. So transformation. And was there also, just to pull one more thread there, Ashley, was there quite a bit of frustration where you were almost like pissed off and like, wow, people deserve to know what I just discovered?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I went through, years of feeling horrible and sick and like kind of just being at that threshold where it didn't take much for my system to be sent over, and I would, spend days in bed. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a whole other world to health. And that was never taught to me. And I went, I was in pain a lot in high school, so I went to a chiropractor a lot, but they never shared anything like that. And I think Then there was also frustration on Rudy and I's part because we really didn't start in the peds world until like even I think clinic. And
That's right. Yeah, eight, maybe 7,
Yeah.
9. Yeah.
and so it was a fast turnaround on that.
So for you, was there, and this is awesome, by the way, because that's totally not like, I fell head over heels, just obsessed with chiropractic from principles and nervous system, and then pediatrics was last, right?
Yeah.
That was definitely, is that you guys too?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
before clinic and before pediatrics, did you have a holy cow chiropractic kicks ASS spark yourself?
Yeah, a few of them.
Yeah?
Honestly,
Yeah.
because it was like, I had no chiropractic experience growing up. So like I had no idea what it was. At my undergrad, long story short, a couple professors from the school I ended up going to, Parker, told a story about a dog that couldn't walk. And then they adjustment, he pops up and starts running around.
You
so
love
I'm
dogs
like,
that much?
I do now.
guy?
Yeah. We don't have one yet, but we're.
Told you it was gonna be
I
sarcastic.
know. But that was like, okay. It was. I literally felt this pull, and we got the cheese. Chiropractic chose me. I knew right at that moment. I was like, there's something more to this that I had no idea. So it started there.
Awesome.
Then I quickly realized. Luckily, I had a couple friends that I met early that were ahead of me in trimesters in school, and got me involved with some really good principal chiropractic adjusters. So I knew right away that school was not going to be the thing that really got me to where I needed to be.
Cool.
So I spent all my time outside of that, seminars, chasing a lot of different things.
So were you both outside chasing,
Oh,
seminar attending, club attending, speakers coming? Early, right away, first couple trimesters.
Yeah.
Why? Let's go there. What? And I know it's kind of a cliche answer because it just does do it. But what do you think that's such a difference maker? Because I tell that to students every time I get a chance. And I'm always awesomely rewarding the people listening to me, because usually if they're listening to me, it's an extra club meeting or something like that. But if I look and I contrast those I graduated with who did the bare minimum and those who went to every extra seminar, it's not a small difference, it's a monumental difference. What do you think really, if you could strategize that a bit? I don't know what I'm trying to ask here, but like, how did that give you such a head start once you got into practice?
Oh man. I mean, I think you almost realize more what you don't want to do more so than what you do want to do. And that is the first thing with one of our scan tech CAs that we just sent to Life University
that's right.
to join us.
Which is why there's another one coming
to join us to join us again one day. And that was the number one thing we said. We're like, you will get through school, you'll make it happen. You got to experience, like you got to get out there. She's in PX clubs and all that. So like that's gonna be the driver. But you really do have to see what you don't want to do, but it's also so important to know what everybody else is doing, because you see the holes and you see where it's missed and where it's overcomplicated. And so that was the thing when I first hit that spark and figured out, maybe it's not always the easiest when you got the kids running around smashing their heads on walls and things, but it's simple. It starts with the brain, and we miss that. And we if you don't see where everything else has muddied the waters, it's really hard to see through what the guys that started chiropractic, what they were going after. And that's what it just builds on that. You got to see what you're
They fought to keep it principled, and the whole they fought because they knew it needed to have that much depth to win the battles it would need to win, which we still need to win. We need to get back to depth. We need to get back to just an obsessive, relentless pursuit of teaching this principle, these health principles, these neurological principles, and then delivering that product. And if you go that deep, it is so simple, and then it's also so awesomely energy, time, impact consuming, and income making, because it just works so well. And so you end up awesomely with a brain so busy, so obsessed with this one thing, there's no room for the others. But it is, let's just triple tap there. And Ashley, if you could share your perspective, Christina and I would say the same thing. As students, we went everywhere. If somebody just made me say, which list is more valuable? The experiences you had that you were like, oh, I do want to do that, or the list, I don't want to do that, I would actually choose the latter. Because if you don't know what you don't want to do, you cannot operate with speed and conviction. Clarity cuts two ways. Clarity is not just, oh, I know I want to do this. Clarity is really gets its final word and definition and expression in your life by knowing what you don't want to do. And I think a lot of chiropractors are just still caught in the middle. Students, clearly.
Absolutely. I think it's like only can have confidence in what you're doing with being able to know the other side too, because it's like, you know, like you can go into it confidently knowing, no, this is the absolute best thing for the patient that I can deliver. And you know, there's all these other methods out here, but I know, like, at least why for myself, I'm not choosing that. And I think also with seminars, I mean, they do an incredible job at teaching, but they're teaching the way that worked best for them.
For sure.
And every chiropractor is so different. Every kid's so different. And so it's just that marrying of all these methods that you figure out how you can adjust.
Yeah. If your students are listening, I'm going to start every interview with you guys, because if PX can reach you and give you that clarity, that strategic plan early, you are capable of more impact than anybody else we can help, because simply you just have the longest runway. So do the extra. And when you're going out to the extra seminars, to the extra clubs, and even those ones that you're like, I have no idea if this would be right for me. That's the point.
Yeah.
Go find out.
Exactly.
And then beyond the seminar, there's one more little thing. Beyond the seminar, take your breaks and go shadow those offices, because a lot of people say one thing when they're speaking to students and clubs and stages and seminars, and then you go to their office and you're like, this is, I was going to say mid, but a lot of our experiences are worse than mid, whatever. I got teenagers. I'm working below mid, you know. So you got to go experience it. You got to go experience it. Okay.
Yep.
You were running with the word confidence, clarity, conviction, certainty. You started up with it. What did you do? What are 2-3 moves, the top 2 to 3 strategies that you guys deployed to start off your practice so successfully?
Mentors, number one, easy. You gotta get in. There was a guy I went to school with that once when I was really young. He said, I only learn from $1 million chiropractors, and that's not necessarily to put money into it, but they're doing something that is right. So only get in rooms with people that are further along than you. And that doesn't, you might feel like you're a better adjuster. You might feel like there's some better qualities, whatever that looks like. That's not what the point is. It's to learn from people that have set the path before you. And that there's nothing that has made up for that. Like being with this crew, and starting off from that. And honestly, how it starts out is you borrow the confidence, you borrow the certainty. And then one day you look up, you're like, I got my own, right? It's like it just came out of nowhere. But if you don't have that guide of doing exactly the way that your heart is being pulled to do it, and the more you dive into that, the more I think it's going to call you. You'd be surprised. But that's number one. Easy is you got to get in the room with people that you want what they're going for, and you share their heart, their passion, their beliefs.
And be choosy.
Oh, absolutely.
Go big. Go bigger than you think you could ever go.
He's got lots of stories. We've all chased, people, seminars, groups that have pulled us in different directions, but that also, like we were just talking about, is the point, and you'd be surprised at how much you do pick up and learn and use now. But you got to be choosy and be picky, be choosy, man. Yeah. Interview them. People say that. It's like,
and be nervous.
Be nervous.
A lot of those conversations, somebody get done speaking, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have this little bit of pee run down my leg. I said it, Ashley. I have a question for you. And then guess what? The best of mentors, they want that. The best mentors you could ever have would much rather literally spend 45 minutes in a circle, with a coffee answering questions than spend 45 minutes going through slides. If you have someone who can crush it with slides, but has no time to hang out with you on the side or the back of the room or in the hallway and answer your questions, that's not the mentor you want. Because they only know how to teach from slides. They don't know how to teach from actual reality and practicality. So, okay, mentors, Ashley, number 2.
It's kind of the same thing. I mean, there's a little bit of just kind of blind ignorance as well.
Yeah.
Like just this enthusiasm of like, we just, and maybe some of that almost came because we made a switch so late in our journey in chiropractic school, because it was like, we just totally kind of 180'd and it was like this whole new world of this like peds, prenatal, cash-based, like we were looking at another training group, and it was insurance, just all these different things. And once we saw the other side, it was like, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world.
Freedom too.
Totally. Man.
So much freedom. So we just kind of blindly just ran towards it. And it was fun because it also coincided with the start of PX as you were like, not blindly, you knew what you're doing, but ran towards all that. And so we were able to just kind of, just kind of hang on the coattails.
And our hearts were pulled to that too. Like you could, like that was like, yes, you were like, you just, that just felt like that was what was best for us, and we didn't look back.
These two are incredibly experienced in their youth and awesomeness, and they're going to be phenomenal mentors for all of you listening out there. But so the whole podcast is going to be chock full of great things that you should put down in your notes, but more importantly, take action on. But if there's one that I'm going to say, when we pick the title of this, we're coming around this, just thriving with blind ignorance. And then I can see the title, and then in a parentheses, but we also had a plan.
Exactly.
Because you did.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
But Christina and I have been on this. Oh, this is so God right here. For the last 72 hours, because we just launched Brick Builders, and we're going to get even more strategic with business and strategy and project management. And we have it. We live in Asana. We live in Slack. I had goals. I had spreadsheets, and I had manuals opening up. But what I'm seeing happening now, and startups need you to listen to this, it's the same slight or significant maybe trap that young doctors are stepping into, same as our patients are stepping into. You have so much access to training, to mentorship, to business advice on YouTube, on Instagram, in books, and on podcasts. If you read the wrong advice too soon, it will actually start to extinguish your fire, and you're just pure passion plus ignorance plus, I believe firmly, and I've thought about this and prayed about this literally just this morning. It's crazy you go there, because I think you can get to 300, 400, 500 a week with the crappiest system. And I'm not saying you should do this, but if you're gonna lean one way, God Almighty, chiropractic is amazing. People need it so badly, and when you just deliver it with passion and certainty and conviction, I think you shouldn't really ask advanced business questions until you're 300, 400, 500 a week, and then you wake up and go, okay, let me complete this. But if you're asking, technical business, tax advice, whatever sort of questions, and you're at 150 a week or 200 a week, you're going to squash your passion without even knowing you're doing it. And I didn't say that as well as I want to say it, because this is just a new thought for me. But
you stole my point. That was my number 2. So he's already rolling on it, but that's it. And this is the next to mentors. Is the only thing I could say is you take care of the people and they will take care of you. If you focus, and that is the one thing that we have set that culture from the beginning, and that will never change, is the people are first. I don't care about that bottom line, that dollar, all the business stuff will work itself out. If you create a community that is telling everybody about you, staying for the whole life, and know that you are taking care of them with the best possible ability you have and your team has, and your team's on fire for that. You take care of the people, and you don't have to worry about anything else, especially in the beginning. Then you start crushing it. You're like, we better figure this out, because we did a new building like yesterday. And then, I mean, what a best problem to have ever. You take care of the people, they'll take care of you. If you just love them, serve with passion, that it gets kind of muddy because it gets said so often. But if you really apply yourself to that, keep your head down, focus on the people and the person in front of you, you can't fail.
Actually, I know you
with purpose, with passion.
You two have the most incredible relationship, but I just want to tell you what you already know, my love for this man. I'm just professing it here on the podcast. Pretty good? I love that. Yeah. These scans look all right. It could be better. Core score was 78 or something. Well, he's a 98 core score in my book, because my next set of questions, I know you would answer with that. You're one step ahead of me. If you took it all and you put it all on the table and you said what matters most and moves the needle the most, it's that. So Ashley, is that harder to do as you guys? So I didn't have this question pre-planned, but now that you're out ahead of it, is that harder to do now that you're at this advanced? Actually, let's just call it what you guys are. You're very successful. You're financially successful. Your life is successful. So you could hit cruise control. You could back off, go sideways, and actually a whole bunch of chiropractic coaching groups and that want you to. They just can't wait for you to come sign up for their seminars so they can take you off track. But so what's your strategy to continue to put the kids and families first, to continue to do it for them, and then learn and add all this other stuff to just do more of that? How are you guys doing that?
It's team. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, we and truly, I know, I mean, maybe it sounds annoying, but new patients and patient visits, all of that has been the absolute easiest part of practice. Truth. I know it may sound annoying, but they show up. You take care of people, as Rudy said. They show up, they tell their friends, they're there. That's not the issue. It's that, do we have the team on the back end to take care of all those people? Because I mean, Rudy and I have kind of gotten ourselves into a position where we are spread way too thin, and that we can't let that happen at the cost of our patient care and our team. And I feel like, it's just team.
Without the team, we wouldn't be able to keep afloat. And if you get people in like our first, before hiring anyone, they got to love the Lord. That's number one, because you know where love comes from, you can give it to other people. And so if we make sure that that is the number one priority, we know that our people are being taken care of by our team, when sometimes we can't go that extra mile, whatever that looks like. And again, great problem to have, but the number one thing you can't let slip is the patient care. That is why we're here. And the reason we have that life we have, right, is because of that. So, that's, you got to invest in team. And this is something, and I'm sure we'll get into this and how we progress through it, but you can't say more on that. It's literally the people around you that are fired up on the mission, that are loving people like you love people, like you want to love people as much as you can. Your team is the one sitting in the corner crying with them when they're talking about how their kids, they don't always tell us all that stuff. And if you got someone there holding their hand through that, it becomes a family. And then it's,
God takes, when you take care of God's people, he continues to take care of you, so you can take care of more of his people. It all coalesces together. Coming in from the parking lot, so grabbing my coffee, coming here, running 5 to 10 per usual, texting you guys and told you to make out in the parking lot, kill some time with that.
You could say that.
But I also, one of the 5-minute delays was Jen and Jackie from the office called me and they said, hey, I don't know if you saw the Slack, and we already know your decision because I've trained my team to make these decisions. This is the one, though, that it does cross the line that they wanted to get my direct advice on it. So we have this long-standing family. They've been under wellness care every single Monday night for 13 years running. Perfect storm. Daughter, she's part of the testimony. We'll tell her story tonight at the workshop. And so he just lost his job. And so they called today, stressed and panicked, and said, hey, we got to pause our wellness care. We're going down to one income. The kids are in high school. College is coming up. And Jen and Jackie knew exactly. So this was, it was a 2-minute conversation, but the answer was, well, make sure they're still there every Monday. And if he needs boost, those are free too. And there's no charge for that family until he's back on his feet, their family. I mean, that is the easiest decision ever. And so, but here's where that all comes together. It's the perfect story that literally happened today to illustrate the point that these two rock stars are making. We have to be financially successful if this family needs 3 months or 6 months, it's not going to hurt us at all. It's a very easy decision to put them first because we are also financially successful. So if you're listening out there, there's a formula to this. From the beginning to the middle to forever, you put them first. They will convert. They will prepay. They will bring their whole family. Yeah. They will stick with you when you raise your fees as you increase the value that you provide. They will tell everybody in their cul-de-sac, in their school, in their Facebook group, in their group chat about you. And the value will be so exponentially incredible that when these moments show up for them, easy peasy. Absolutely. We got you.
100%.
Same with your team. When COVID hits or whatever, when life hits your team members, which the bigger your team gets, the more life's going to hit them. Nobody knows that like you guys. And so you just get to be there for them then too. Emotionally, chiropractically, financially.
Absolutely.
And when you really put it all together, you get to deliver all those things. So, okay, real quick, I have a couple more final questions. So now you have gone from students to startups and you've succeeded in those stages. Yeah. So I know you're deploying now that you're in scale. Mm-hmm. So you're scaling through team, you're scaling through space, you're scaling through systems. So I know you're going to continue with what got you here, mentorship, putting them first, passion, just continue to have, that blind faith, yet confidence and conviction at the same time, right? And going through it. What else have you found is helpful right now in this season of scaling, going towards, you're hauling past $1 million practice. Yeah. So what's next?
I'd say number one is don't be scared of it. It's easy to be, and you're naturally going to feel the pressure of, oh my God, these systems have to be perfect. They have to be laid out exactly. If we don't do this and this, those little details will work themselves out. You have to kind of put your head through the brick wall, keep moving forward day by day. It starts with that mindset of like, okay, and it's okay to let your vision grow. Like we were just talking about this too. Like I think we thought, okay, maybe, you have mentors and you get to see, you're like, oh man, that'd be cool. But you're, the limiting mindset at some point is going to hit you. You're like, I don't know. Is that ever something that can be possible for us? Let that grow. Like that is okay to not be rigid there, because now there's no ceiling. And so now that we're out of the way in that sense, now we can let the systems and procedures work through that. She's the systems girl.
There you go.
So I know that she's going to have some good answers for that. But first, you got to clear your mind. You got to be like, I'm ready for this. I want this. And it's not only for business gain, it's impact. It's how many people can we really reach? Because if we have offices all over the world doing this, there's no corner that we can't reach. And so when you let that be the driver first, you got to start there, and then you can build things easy. But
yeah, I mean, fluidity in it, has been our saving grace. And I think we've just worked hard to stay humble in it all and kind of take ourselves out of the equation, because it's easy for me to be like, oh, I set this system. It's a great way to do it. But we have to enable our team to figure out ways to better optimize things. And, we've changed EHR systems. We've updated just every system we have changed a good bit since the beginning. And it's just been having to stay humble and always looking for ways to change, and enabling team to be empowered to make those changes.
Let the minds on your team come up with good ideas, because they're awesome. It's like, let them run with things. They do it. They do it. Exactly. They do it, man.
As soon as possible, like from the start, you should not, how you're talking about earlier, listeners, about like, okay, you're going to go get all these experiences so you learn exactly what to do and what not to do. There's a lot of things that happen every single day inside a successful chiropractic clinic that you should have no clue how to do. I don't know how to turn on Synapse. I don't know how to run a scan. I don't know how to schedule a new patient. I don't know how to collect money. I don't know how to post a reel on Instagram. I don't know how to really use AI, because I've just hired people. Because when scaling happens through humans. Because humans deploy systems. So if you hear systems, you're hearing team. If you're hearing team, they bring systems to life. And what you actually nailed and need to triple down on is humility. The toughest time to continue to stay humble is when you soar past 500,000, when you soar past 500 a week, when you hit $1 million. And also the algorithm, this, by the way, even before social media, all the Chiro sharks out there, they were already smart. They knew that the moment you were successful, they could hook you. Our seminars are in Cabo. Our seminars are in, I don't know any other, I was going to say Bolivia, but I don't know if that's a big destination.
We can make it.
Yeah, we can. We absolutely will.
We're not coming here for crystal.
Exactly. No, you're not. You're not for the Crystal Lake Holiday Inn. And you know what? I know you guys already know this. We probably never said it out loud, but we are actually very intentional with that. If we took you guys someplace that will never take you off purpose, I'm just going to say that. We are very strategically going to keep you on purpose and do it that way. So humility, if you want the answer towards the end of this podcast, if you're taking notes and you really want to put this in action, now we've made our way through the interview from talking to students, which is what we're going to do with every one of these podcasts. If I do a solo, I'm going to really kind of stage it out through the different stages of our journey. And we're going to do it on these interviews too. So we've given help to startups very specifically. We've given help to, students, then startups. Now we're talking to successful chiropractors. And the thing you need now more than ever is humility oozing out of your eyeballs. Because if you lose your humility, you will lose your hunger to continue to learn. And by the way, what's coming next is way harder.
We're starting to figure that out.
It's leadership is way harder than doing it yourself. Getting a team to learn how to make decisions is way harder. Effective, fast decisions is way harder than, and I could go on down the list. So everything next to go from 1 million to 10 million to 100 million is going to be way harder. So you need humility that got you here to embrace what's going to get you there. And a lot of the strategies are going to be the same, but they need to be leveled up. And also humility, you took it down the exact right path, Ashley. If you don't have humility, your team will intentionally, they won't say it out loud, but they will subconsciously subvert everything you do. They will take you down if you don't have humility. And so what I see a lot of successful chiropractors do is they hit $500,000, they hit $1 million, and they become full of themselves instead of fulfilled, with impact being what it is. All of a sudden it's more money, more status, And it not only erodes their relationships with patients, it erodes their relationships with their team.
Yeah.
The team falls apart, the practice falls apart, and eventually they give up and they become coaches. I said it,
right?
son of a gun. And Christina's like, Christina goes, how much truth are you going to share on the new podcast? I said, a fair amount, which I meant full send.
Yeah.
Full send. Because it's a lot easier to get 5 to 10. There's, I might as well beat this one down. It is a lot easier to get 5 to 10 other struggling chiropractors who see you're successful to pay you $500, $1,000, $1,500 a month than it is to learn how to lead and grow and scale a practice. Because like we just said, that's really hard. So a lot of people will take the shockwave, the crypto, the coaching, the courses path because it's just easier. It's just easier. Okay. So I cannot say thank you enough to you guys for taking the hard, easy path right out of the gates. And right now, to know that you're back with your team again, to know that you're first in for brick builders, to know that you will constantly be front row every time we teach a new clinical protocol. Like we just trust you guys of the nth degree because of your humility, because of your love for our Lord, who has set us on this path as servant leaders in this incredible profession. And, you know, I think he's done a great job in choosing you guys to be pediatric chiropractors instead of, can you imagine the three of us on the side of, that was my path, out there just ART, rugby guy, you know, how's that feel? Go run into something.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
All right. So I did not plan a closing at all.
Well,
okay.
I can just thank you. Thank you guys. And thank you for being our mentors. And what's so cool about that is we have that relationship, but now we also get to jump in the boat of having the same mission, right? And we get to be all in on this. And we've never seen this in another, group, for lack of a better word, but it's a family, a PX family. It's nothing like you could ever, the humility is real. And that's really all we can say. The humility is real. It's not about the glamour. It's about helping families. It's about helping people. It's about helping kids. And we can do that mission together. And there's never no high horse, this, you're better. You know, it's working together. How can we collectively get chiropractors as much on the same page to help as many people and kids and families, the ones that are really struggling, together.
Yes.
And that's always going to be, we know what you guys, what we're all always going to fall back on is that we have the same mission vision and we're rolling. So
that's it. So I would call it the pediatric. Thank you, bro.
That's it.
Thank you guys. That's why we called it the pediatric experience, because we just continued to have this incredible experience, all the good and all the hard, all put together. And we loved it all. We have loved it all. We have learned so much. We have grown so much. We have enjoyed so much. But most importantly, we have impacted and reached so many kids. And the best thing is just constant, like the Wins channel on Slack. And because now that's where you guys are going. Like you're not going to be directly connected and adjusting all these patients. And the biggest smile I get, and it's not even close, is when the patient wins. We have a wins channel for when we break records and everything. That is awesome. And that gets a nice little smile from me. And it's like, you know? I don't know. I just got excited, Taekwondo excitement. But when the wins of patient channels go up, I mean, we'll spend a half hour at every meeting. I can tell Christina, our business lady, who is driven by wins, we'll just be going off on patient wins. Yeah. Half the room is crying and she's like, we have a marketing calendar.
It's just like, hold on, it's been 65 minutes. That's what gets you the chills, man. That's what keeps you going. I mean, that when we start off our meetings with the wins, and because we forgot to do that sometimes, and the meetings totally suck. Meetings suck when you start, the wins light us all up. We're crying, we got goosebumps, everyone's on it's like, and then we really realize that's why everybody's there. So 100%.
That is why everybody's there. That's why we're staying here. That's why we're sticking with it.
We get back on.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah. Now let's fix that system.
One shot
to reach more. Yeah. So y'all, if you're here, if you tuned into this podcast because you know that impacting more kids, more moms, more families is what you want to do with every single day of your career. You want to be confident. You want to be clear. You want to be mentored, connected, guided, so that that you can do it with that confidence, so that you can do it with speed. You guys are the definition of speed. Maybe not when you're snowboarding and skiing, but you are in practice. And so we love you like crazy. Those of you out there, all you got to do is absolutely reach out to us. Share this podcast, like this podcast, send it. Chiropractic students, make this sucker go crazy. You've got histopathology class and biochem that you don't need to listen to. Put your AirPods in, get this podcast on, send it out to everyone else, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.